The Beatles, what was there to say? Not only that they did take their world by a storm with their single hits, hit by hit, but they've also been dominated and influenced by most of the widely recognized groups such as Green Day, a corny band, yes, but will be for another day. Who knew about the four blokes from the Liverpool? They all played around the clubs of all sorts of memo. They would be the pop icons of the modern era, including their fans. My Beatlemania crazy era for the band entirely, crying and screaming girls all huddling to smoocher them in all their sweaty apparel. You could definitely say that some of those people seemed identically cultish in their actions. But who am I to judge for those who cannot contain their outlandish behavior? If they wanted to worship them like gods, then they would. It's kind of funny of how you would say that John Lennon would say, you know, all this whole mislead comment on the Beatles to being more popular than Jesus. Even though they did apologize for it, I could see it unfold for myself. Sure, the press was to try to corrupt or ruin someone's career over something baffling as this, but John never knew what he meant. He knew in his own perspective that what he did say was happening, even though his fans outside the United States who spoke out negatively on that matter would buy their records in order to get their daily dose of Beatle goodness. Speaking of the Beatlemania crazy lunatics, remember the Healer Skittler accident? If you don't know what I'm talking about, the Mason murders might ring a bell. In August of 1969, Charles Manson spoke out to his family about a theoretical scenario on what he will be called Hitler Skeetler. This scenario Mason spoke of was an apocalyptic war being caused by racial tensions between African Americans and whites. He used songs from the Beatles. Its self-titled White Album, including Revolution 9, describes his vision using the Bible's New Testament look on the book. Revelation 9. If you want to dive more into info of what happens with this plan I conduct, I highly suggest you take the time to conduct yourself on your research on your own. Sorry if that sounds too impolite, but I don't really have a lot of time on my hands for the upcoming song. Home soon. Now that there's the freakiest part of the whole situation, let's cut to a year when the Beatles were recording. Hitler Skeetler, in Paul's words, believed to be the state of the meaning of Hitler Skeetler, was based on the amusement park ride of the same name. Although it might be innocent for the most part, but there still remains a very cold barren to approach to this comment. Hell, if you even want to know about this subliminal message, it's not hard to do so. You'll need to reverse the song by the entry first. By doing this so you could hear the full track, backmasted in its true form, then enjoy the show. Ha 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 ha. Oh God. Right then due to the message, approximately 2 minutes into the reverse recording, where the line Hitler Skeetler comes into play, you could audibly hear Paul yell, I like death. But now let's compare Mason's identicality with the song, and both involve death and such as killing someone. It could be possible that Mason understood Paul's chaotic phrase of his own sins, or at least the man not to be crazy for once he thought it was. Of course, we see how Mason had gone fully to what he wanted his cult to do. Boy, did he deliver that before the cat got out of the bag. You may be asking yourself what that might ask as foolish of the man himself, but hear me out. In the summer of 1968, Paul McCartney met Charles Mason at the Beach Boys party at Brian Wilson's house in Los Angeles, California. 6 months before they released the White Album. The reason why I tell you this a year later, in August of 1969, the police began investigating the Aspen Ranch where Mason cult was hiding out, and this is where the photo was taken. Now you might be wondering and asking yourself what's significant about the door besides the useless words scribbled onto it. Well, if you could see at the upper left corner, the words read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, all good children go to heaven. What was so baffling about this eerie statement? That is the fact that the Beatles, at this time, were recording their final album together as a band. This would ultimately become an Abbey Road. These words of hint itself come come across the last part of their song. You never gave me your money in transitioning into Sun King. This is only Ponder's more serious question about the Mason cult who knew about these key words. The album came out in September of 1969, as its photograph was taken in August. How would they grasp out the words unless they were spoken by somebody in the group in this case? Was it the Beatles, or was it just some crazy one-off man in his prime? All I could truly say is play it backwards. Only then the truth will be revealed. And that, my little pretties, was the Beatles' Play It Backwards, a Beatles creepypasta written by Christian Lizotte. Now, Christian Lizotte, I want to thank you so much for the story. Okay, now since this one was a short story, I am going to be kind of making this review, as short as I can, but it depends on how it goes. First of all, I would like to say that I think that this story was actually really good. Like, in its own little way, I actually liked and enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the story because the story was actually really good. Like, there's a lot of positives I can definitely say of why I like the movie. Well, why I like this creepypasta. First of all, sorry about that. I kind of dropped something, but it's okay. Now, first of all, I would like to say I actually found this story to be rather good. In of its own little way, I do find everything about it to be flat out amazing, and the flow of the story just went out beautifully. Now, I do remember listening to the Beatles a long time ago. I think I must have saw when I was younger. Well, I must have listened to their music a lot when I was younger, but I can't honestly remember because, it's been such a long time. Now, first of all, I would like to say that the grammar was beautifully well done, and it was actually really good. The sentence structuring worked out nicely with the story. The paragraph structuring was awesome. And I do love the flow of the story. Like, the flow of this story was actually really good and really nice. However, though, there is a few... I think there was maybe one negative, but I don't know. But let me get on with what I do like about the story. Now, I do like that the story was actually well done. And I actually thought that the concept itself was actually interesting. Now, I have listened to the Beatles a long time ago, and they were a really great hit in the 60s. Like, I can definitely say they were a great hit back then, and they were actually a really popular band back at the time. Now, that's something I can definitely say that I really do appreciate that this story has to give, is that. There's definitely that, and I can tell that the grammar, and, that everything of how the flow went out well. Saying that there's a certain song that has, gotten really dark and crazy when you play it backwards. When you play it backwards, it says there's something like that. And there is, it's really, really creepy. When you come to think of this is actually one of the creepiest, creepypastas I have ever seen. Like, it is so creepy at that point. I don't understand why, but I actually found this story to be rather creepy. But in its own little way, I actually found this one to be quite good. Now, is there anything negative that I do have to say about the story? Obviously, no. I thought I did have something negative about the story, but no. I actually found this story to be very good. It's a really cool and interesting story. Now, I do like to say, Christian Lizotte, that you did an awesome job. And if you do have other stories that you want to send to me, please leave it in the comments below, and I will definitely check them out, because I would really love to see more of your stories. Also, I would like to say that this story was actually really good, and I actually enjoyed them. There was a lot of great time and effort put into the story. And that's a really good positive thing about this story, is that, it's actually pretty believable. Now, I haven't listened to the Beatles in a long time, but this is actually going to make me want to, take a look at it. Thinking it's actually really nice and really well done. And that is very something I could definitely say. Now, I definitely say that this story was actually really amazing. It's amazing, and I can definitely really say that this one was actually really awesome in its own little way. Now, is there anything negative I have to say about it? No, I actually don't have anything negative to say about it. I actually thought that this concept was actually pretty cool, and of its own little way, everything about it was just downright amazing. Now, is there anything negative that I do? Okay, I said no, there's nothing negative, but I could definitely say that this story actually did a really good job, which I could definitely say, it's a really great concept. When you come to think of it, it's amazing. Now, I think I kind of, I think I already, explained what I liked about it. Let's wrap up the review because I actually really love this story, and I really do think it did really well, and I really do recommend that you make more stories. Reese, Christian Lizotte said, and you did a really great job, so yeah. Like I'm going to say, and like I always continue to say, this is simply my own personal opinion, and if you disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions regards to these creepypastas, and this is simply my own personal thoughts. My final rating of the story would have to be 10 out of 10. It's a great creepypasta. It's actually very believable. I like the concept. Everything about it was just flat out amazing, and I do feel that, it actually really makes it real good, and it's actually really awesome to say the least. And the best thing I can definitely say is that this was obviously amazing as it could be. Now, I could definitely say right now that this story was actually really good, and there was a lot of great time and effort put into the story, which I could definitely say there was a lot of stuff. Okay, now that I've explained what I liked about it, I'm gonna, wrap up this review. Now, so, what did you all think about this creepypasta? Did you all enjoy it? Did you not? Also, what would you have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section down below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode, and if you're brand new here to this channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because I make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell when I upload so you will not miss an upload. And like always, please roll the outro because I'm out of here. And I will be seeing you all in the next video. Peace out.